Okay, is imposter syndrome keeping you from charging what you're worth? By the end of this video, you're gonna have a strategy to kick imposter syndrome to the curb and start charging more. For more super simple and easy to implement business building advice, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell so you're notified when I post new videos every Monday and Thursday. Friends, I have been teaching new entrepreneurs how to think bigger and charge more for over 18 years, and now it is your turn. Let's dive into imposter syndrome point number 1, and that is that you think that you have to undercharge because you're new in business. And this is a very common money myth that I see a lot of entrepreneurs in my community experience. Even though they might have years and years of education, hands-on experience, and they are damn good at what they do, they think because they're a new business owner, they have to undercharge. And that simply isn't true. When you think about how you're going to charge for your services, you want to add up all your education, all your real life experience, hands-on experience, and factor that into your rates, not just how long you've been in business. Imposter syndrome point number 2 is that you think you have to charge based on how many social followers you have or how pretty your website is. And listen, I get it. Having a gorgeous website, having an active and engaged and large following on social media does speak to the social proof and also the professionalism that you bring to the table. But just because you don't have a massive group on social or your website maybe isn't even done yet, that doesn't mean that you have to undercharge. There are many entrepreneurs I know out there who don't even have a website, or you go to it and it's like, what is this mess? But that doesn't mean that they aren't charging what they're worth and what the value of their solutions to their PPC's problems are. By the way, if you're new around here, PPC simply means your perfect potential client or customer. So remember that even if you have a small following and your website isn't quite where you want it yet, that doesn't mean you have to undercharge. Again, think about the quality and the value of the solution that you're offering and charge accordingly. This brings us to point number 3, which is that you think you have to charge based on how many clients you've already worked with. Raise your hand if this is you. This is such a super common belief in new business owners. They think, well, I've not really worked with anyone yet, or I've only worked with a couple of people, or maybe I've switched niches and I'm working with a new niche now, and so I have to undercharge because obviously I can't charge what the big folks are doing. So not true. That is an imposter syndrome creeping in your ear saying you haven't earned it yet. And the truth is, again, if you already have the experience, the education, and you know that what you're doing works and is good, it's irrelevant how many people you've worked with. Price yourself accordingly. Because here's the thing, the person that you're talking to today doesn't know that you don't have a whole list of clients that you've worked with in the past. And odds are you have done this work before, whether you were an employee and paid to do it, or you've been doing it for free, left, right, and center with everyone you know your entire life. And let's be honest, for most entrepreneurs, I think that is the truth and the reality. The things that we do in our businesses are things that we've probably been doing over and over and again everywhere else. Now, here's what I'm going to say about this though. If you genuinely are panicking or a little bit freaking out because you've not worked with someone before, and when you charge a rate, it does seem astronomical based on your experience, then yeah, bring your rate down, because I don't want you to trigger imposter syndrome by trying to charge outside where you're comfortable. But don't think just because you've not worked with people in the past under the heading or the banner of your business that means you somehow have to charge less until you've worked with some random set of people that allows you to charge more. Before we continue on to point 4, I want you to comment below with a heck yeah if you are ready to start charging what you are worth. Which brings us to point number 4, and that is that you are comparing yourself to your competitors and psyching yourself out thinking that you have to charge less because you're not as good. All right, first of all, let's break down competitors. I think that is kind of a misnomer in a lot of ways. It's a way of saying somebody else in the market who's doing something that we are doing or something similar to what we are doing. But the minute that we call them competitors, it instantly pits us against them. And what happens when we pit us against someone else? We now have to look to them to compete to do better. And that's not what we want. We really want to think about ignoring the competitors in a lot of ways and going inside and going, okay, what are my values? Who do I help? What's important to me? How do I want to do it? And really start there. So when we look outside to our competitors, that's when we get in our own heads and think, well, my website isn't as pretty. I don't have as many social media followers. I haven't done as many speaking gigs. I haven't written as many books. I don't have a flashy lead magnet and sales funnels. You know, all these things, they get in our head and they make us think we're not as good as. And then we undercharge because how can we charge as much as they charge? Because clearly they're so much better. So no, we need to stop thinking of people as competitors. Use people who are doing what you do as inspiration. Don't copy. Do not copy. But use them as inspiration. Use them to think bigger and dream bigger and push yourself to strive for more if that's what you want. But don't think that because you're not the same, you have to somehow charge less or you're somehow not as good. That is a trick that imposter syndrome plays on us, and we have to get better at spotting it and then disconnecting from it and going back inside. And again, what's important to me? Who do I want to work with? What do I want to do? What do I want to say? What do I want to charge? How do I want to do it? Work from here instead of by comparing yourself to others. And this brings us to our last point, point 5, which is you don't know how much to charge, and so it is shaking your confidence. Listen, as they say, knowledge is power. When you have knowledge, when you are confident in what you know, you definitely move through the world differently, and that shows up in the way that you run your business and what you ask for in your rates. So if you don't know, find out. Talk to other people who do things similar. Find out what they are charging. Talk to other entrepreneurial friends who have worked with people who do what you want to do and ask how much they are paying. You know, do a little research and find out what is sort of normal for the price range that you want to be charging and get comfortable knowing where you fit in that range and then ask for it. Remember that knowledge is power. So if you don't know, ask. Here is the truth about imposter syndrome. It is all in our heads. Now, that doesn't mean it's not real. It absolutely is real. Imposter syndrome is this belief that we are not good enough, that we are a fraud, that we lucked out, that we don't deserve what we've got. All of these things play in our head. But the thing is, it is internal. It is an internal dialogue that we are saying to ourselves. So if you want to beat imposter syndrome when it comes to what you're charging, you need to get really good at listening to when those little voices come up in your ear, when they start whispering to you, when you can't sleep in the dead of night, or when you're about to say your rates to somebody and a potential new client. You want to take a step back, you want to hit pause, and you want to go, okay, what am I hearing? What am I telling myself? Is this true? Is this accurate? Am I just comparing myself and therefore I'm psyching myself out? Am I new in business and I think that doesn't apply to my actual experience level? Do I just not know and I need to get information? All right, you want to stop and listen to that voice and challenge it. If it is lying to you or it is telling you that you can't do something, heck, prove it wrong. Find out information, try the thing, do the thing, and you will start to get very comfortable very soon with challenging that imposter syndrome voice and moving through it and past it by getting into action, getting information, and just getting out there and doing it. So now that you know the ways in which imposter syndrome are lying to you and you can in fact charge what you're worth, how do you find clients in the first place? All right, I want you to look below and I've got a link there for you to my 4 business building basics every new entrepreneur needs to know. It is a free training that I created to help you start getting clients, not just any clients, your perfect clients. For even more support and to connect with other first-time entrepreneurs, click below and go join my Facebook group, Rad Connectors. Your next step is to click the 2 videos that I've got here for you all around attraction-based sales. If you are struggling with something that you want me to cover, please put it in the comments below. Remember that if you like this video, hit like, subscribe to my channel, and share it with your business bestie. Until next time, friends, happy connecting. I will see you online.